We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
You're either in or you're out. Right now.
I want to gamble.
I never want to hear those words out of your mouth again.
Gambling is not your problem.
Has anybody ever told you before of your bad luck?
Most gamblers, when they go to gamble, they go to win.
Those were my mother's dying words.
When we go to gamble, we go to lose. Show me the money.
Let's get out of here, man.
Show you the money.
Honestly, like, let's just go. Let's go to Vegas.
Look at you rapping that, Jerry. I want you to say it what you would mean it, brother. Show me the money!
It's the Sports Memory Vegas pregame show.
Hello, hello, hello. 'Twas the night before Sweet 16, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, only Purdue Pete. Welcome back, everyone. Previewing the Sweet 16. Newman is not with me today, but I have two other degenerates with me, the two guys from Terrible Reviews. Go check out their movie podcast. We have Bragley right to my left, and below me is producer Seth. Welcome, boys. Glad to have you on the show.
Did you mean to say below me? Is that what you meant to say?
Below me, but same.
Yeah,
Same.
Yeah.
I took it personally.
Well, guys, this is going to be the same as always. We're going to go through game by game. This time we're going to go bracket by bracket just to make it a little bit easier to follow. And of course, we're always going to go by spread because, again, we're all degenerates and we all like making money. Before we get into that, Bragg, how's your bracket doing?
It's gone.
Like that South Park gif, and it's gone.
And it's gone. Yeah,
Right?
it's toast. It's all of them. All of them that revolved around money are gone. Yeah.
And Seth, how was yours? Are you mimicking?
I mean, I got 3 of 4 Final Four teams left. I have a pretty decent.
That's a good way to cut him off. You don't brag on my show. So while Purdue down there is having some technical difficulties, we'll move onwards and upwards. Let's see here. All right, we are back and a little bit switched up here. Seth fell off and Bragg fell off, but we are back here in motion. Seth was just saying how his bracket is awesome, and then he fell off, so I think he was lying.
He's full of shit. Yeah.
It's the only thing that makes sense. But we are going to make sense of the rest of the bracket. And let's start with number 4 Arkansas against number 1 Gonzaga. Guys, I don't know about you, but I called Arkansas to lose to Vermont, and then I called Arkansas to lose to New Mexico State. So I'm just going to stay consistent. I'm going to say Arkansas is going to lose to Gonzaga. Arkansas has yet to cover in a game, and I don't think they do here either. JD Note is just not enough for all the wagons that the Zags have to play. I think the Zags win this big. What say you guys?
Of all of the SEC basketball that I've watched, which is none, I did watch a little bit of Arkansas, and to be, I guess to kind of give away the way that I'm leaning is I was fairly impressed with who you talked about, JT Note, who is a volume shooter. He's terrible. He's 40% from the field, but he can be, when he's on, he is on, and it's scary on. And as you said, you have zero faith in them. I have zero faith in Gonzaga, and I have for, I don't know, the last 15 years or however long it's been since they've been semi-relevant, or the West Coast Butler, as I like to call them. So I'm leaning towards Arkansas to cover in a very close game, and I'll give you the reason why. The only other time they've played an SEC team, Gonzaga that is, they lost.
Ooh. Ooh.
Alabama, a lesser SEC team,
That is true.
at a neutral court, which was not neutral. I believe it was in Seattle, and it was very pro Gonzaga, and it was 91-82, so a very high scoring game. There's going to be zero defense in this. I expect the same as far as the scoreline goes. I think Gonzaga wins, but it's way closer than the 9.5 on the spread.
Yeah.
All right. I got it. The thing he's not mentioning here is that aside from being a Purdue fan, the number 2 team I support is Gonzaga. They're the team I've selected to win it all. So everything you just heard out of Bragley's mouth was essentially a lie to cover and mask for his aversion to Gonzaga at my expense. So
I need Gonzaga to win, though, because Purdue has to play like at least one real team.
No, they don't.
Along the
Hey,
way
you don't apologize for who you have to play, man. You just beat the team that shows up across from you. Anyways,
Sure.
Gonzaga has started off weak the last 2 games. It was very disappointing first halves against their first and second round opponents. I think they're going to have a similar struggle in the first half, but they have the human toothpick. They have the mustachioed, I don't know, madman. Who knows? I'm making stuff up as I go. It doesn't matter. Drew Timme, Chet Holmgren, they're almost 14 feet of, well, one's a man and one's a boy still, but it's just fine. I think they have enough to pull away late. They're a pretty decent free throw shooting team for the most part. And so I think with some late fouls, they end up getting to double-digit wins or double-digit point spread. I think they cover the 9.5. But I think just like the other games they've played, it's going to be a pucker butt situation for the first 37, 38 minutes.
Yeah. Are you guys scared like me every time you see Chet Holmgren jump? You think he's going to
break
Kevin
in half.
Ware?
Yes. His legs are just going to break in half.
It's just going to be a Kevin Ware, and I'm going to family style vomit all over.
This may be the game. A physical Arkansas team. This may be the game. There is zero reason for Arkansas to be close in this. If you look at stats,
they lack size, so they don't really do anything that's going to push around Chet, which is going to be his weakest point. I think. I just don't. Oh,
I'm with you, man.
I know it's going to be close.
Totally with you. I'm
JT
totally
Note.
with you.
Just wait for it. He's gonna shoot 50 times. Probably.
That may be their only chance. All right. On the other bracket, again, this is kind of the chalk bracket. We got number 3, Texas Tech, playing number 2, Duke. Duke is actually the underdog in this game. I don't know how many times Duke has been underdog in the Sweet 16. It can't be very many. And I agree with Vegas. I think Texas Tech is the favorite here because how do you beat Duke? You match their athleticism and you play really tough defense. That is exactly what Texas Tech does. I think Texas Tech frustrates the scorers and shooters of Duke. And I think Coach K's run ends. I have Texas Tech covering and winning in this game. What about you guys?
Yeah, on this one, I think the 2 narratives you have going in is Texas Tech is this vaunted defense. All the national numbers back that up. They're going to be a stout defensive force. Duke's narrative is the Coach K final run tour, and he's soaking up all the adulation. You're showing him walking in the stadium with holding hand in hand with his wife, and it's all great. Whatever. I'm not going to bemoan this anymore.
That was so frustrating when the game was going on and they showed Coach K holding his wife's hand. That was just literally vomit. Like that was so pathetic.
It's a little bit of the old Nancy Reagan treatment, but
yes.
It's for me, the difference in this is Paolo and I'm never going to pronounce his last name right. And I'm going to apologize. Banchero. He's a difference maker, but I really think that Texas Tech, they use a team defensive strategy. They're not a bunch of, individual all-stars. They have the transfer from, I want to say it's VCU, and it's Santos Silva. I think he has enough size to combat them inside. It's not going to stop him and Banchero and Marcus Williams, but it's going to be enough to slow him down. I have Texas Tech, again, a nail biter, and there's going to be some happy tears on my side, I guess, and then some sad tears on the Blue Devils sad tears on the Blue Devil side.
Yeah. Are we going to clean sweep the Coach K parade being over?
Yeah, it's not even close.
Not
Okay,
even
okay,
close.
hold on.
Wow.
Maybe it's close.
I think it'll be close.
Maybe it's the game of the tournament. But finger guns up, baby.
There we
Bye-bye,
go.
Coach K, you're done. And
we'll all rejoice. As a
think
country,
Texas
it
Tech
will
very
unite
close.
us.
Take the under, by the way. I don't know what the
Yes.
over under is 137. Ooh.
Oh.
It's a
I'd like it
tease.
better if it was 140.
Yeah.
137 it's probably going to be 138 or 136. So I don't listen to me on that one. But yeah, finger guns up, Texas Tech. Yeah, moving
I
on.
like it. I like it. All right, let's move over to the East bracket, where again, kind of similar to the West bracket, we have one supposedly blowout game and one close game. We'll start with the close game. Number 8 North Carolina coming off their big win against Baylor against number 4 UCLA, who's a 2.5 point favorite. To me, guys, this really comes down to, and it's going to sound simple, but like who's making more baskets. Both of these teams are extremely streaky players. That's why one's an 8 seed and one's a 4 seed. UNC has scored 90 plus in 3 out of 5 games, but I think the difference in this is actually UCLA's defense. They've held teams to 60 points or less in 3 out of 5 games. I think that's the real X factor is UCLA's defense. I like UCLA studs a bit more than that really strong North Carolina backcourt. Give me UCLA to win and cover. Are either of you Tar Heel fans in this game?
Used to be a Tar Heel fan when I was like 10. I think we talked about this. Antoine Jameson, Vince Carter, that team. Used to like him a little bit. But no, there are 3 players that should have probably tested or gone to the NBA last year on UCLA. They've been through everything you could possibly go through in a tournament, a play-in game all the way through to the Final Four.
Battle tested.
Yeah, I mean, that's if you want to go that route, sure. And you said 3 out of the 4 under 60. I mean, you could go 3 out of the 5 under 60. You could go 4 out of the 5 under or 65 or under.
Right.
I mean, that's really good in college. UCLA's got everything you need. They've got a solid point guard. They've got depth everywhere across the board. They've got a scorer in Johnny Juzang. They've got balance across the entire starting 5.
So we're all Big Ten fans, right? Miles
Yeah.
Johnson, who was a great center for Rutgers, I think is the X factor, not just for this game for UCLA, but I think for the whole tournament.
For the tournament, yeah. I have hated the way North Carolina's played the entire season. It feels like they've had a bad year, right?
They've had a disappointing year.
But they're 26-9 with some big wins across the way. Purdue I feel like Purdue handled them pretty easy, Seth. Is that not correct?
That's true.
I'm going UCLA. What's the spread on this one?
2.5.
2.5. I think that's pretty reasonable, but I would say maybe by 5 UCLA.
So this is one of the few Sweet 16 matchups that I nailed perfectly. I had Kentucky beating UCLA in the Elite 8, to go to the Final Four. What I've seen out of North Carolina the last couple of games has been a completely new team, unlike anything I had seen during the regular season. Their offense is clicking on all cylinders. The Oklahoma transfer Manic was just on fire. Also apparently has really pointy elbows. There's a lot of stuff going really well for North Carolina right now. Baycott has really come into his own, 16 and 13. I mean, you can't really argue with those numbers. Love and Davis in the backcourt. I remember watching Davis hit, I think, 2 threes and a 19-footer as the first 4 or 5 baskets in that game against Baylor. They've really showed something the last 2 games, but I really think, and Bragg, you hit on this straight away, the battle mentality of UCLA. They have the point guard with the palm tree hair. They have Juzang. Jaquez Jr. They have a lot of different ways to beat you. And Jules Bernard has had kind of a disappointing tournament thus far. He's going to turn it on at some point. And I think UCLA hasn't really been hitting well on all cylinders. I think with 4 or 5 days to prepare, I'm going to take UCLA in the points. I wanted to be different on this one, but I just think that UCLA has enough battle-tested, battle-born, whatever you want to call it. It's a Nevada thing. But, I really think they have what it takes to eke one out. And I think it only is close at the end. I think they're flirting with 10 points most of that game.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's see, it all depends on the North Carolina backcourt. Caleb Love was good in the round 1, RJ Davis in round 2. They're going to need both of them, and I just don't think it happens. They both haven't been on all year.
Are you guys remembering the fact that they blew a 25-point lead against the team that didn't even have their best players on the court?
Yeah, I referenced the pointy elbow.
Okay, the pointy elbow, but you didn't reference the fact that Cisco led them back from a 25-point deficit to take the lead at one point, I believe, and should have probably won that game if it weren't for RJ Davis making some crazy layup and one thing that kind of sealed it for him. So, yeah, okay.
All right, let's give the people what they want. We all want to talk Peacocks versus Boilermakers.
Yes.
Peacocks at 12.5-point favorites. The nation's Cinderella. 2 of us are IU fans and had a really bad Thursday night. The only thing that made it well is Dougie Eater going nuts against Kentucky, and then he keeps the train rolling, just knocking out all of Kentucky. Can Dougie and Banks do it again? The school of less than 3,000. Let me tell you this: everyone's making the big men of Purdue be in the swing part of this game. That's not it at all. Those are amateurs. People that are talking about that don't know college basketball, because Oscar Tshiebwe destroyed St. Peter's. KJ absolutely destroyed St. Peter's. It didn't matter. It didn't matter at all. I think the Purdue bigs are going to feast again. But the key in this game is going to be the 3-point defense. If Purdue can defend at all, they'll win. But if they don't, it could get scary. That's why Purdue can't play any defense unless they're getting 46 free throws. Give me the Peacocks to cover, and maybe it gets magical.
You son of a bitch. All right. All right. I said this in a group chat earlier this week. The whole Cinderella, America's darling thing. Nobody wants to be the guy who punches Cinderella in the face. Nobody wants to be the one who pushes him out of the moving vehicle.
Speaking of Tyreek Hill. Whoa.
All right. So first of all, I will give credit. Shaheen Holloway has to be one of the coolest stories of the tournament. This guy is pure swagger. Everything you want in like a low, I was going to say low major. That's not even a thing, but a low level, major basketball, high level basketball program. He's everything you want. It's all swagger. It's all about, kind of the New York, New Jersey mentality. That stuff's all so cool. But I fully anticipate them running into a bandsaw Friday evening.
Of course you do.
Hold on. I have reasons for this. I know your wet dream of Dougie Dirt knocking off your 2 most bitter IU rivals. Oh, he can do the 2 things IU couldn't do, knock out Purdue and Kentucky. All right, great, wonderful, cool. The size, yeah, you can neutralize size. You can do some gang, attacks on the post. All that stuff is great. But Jaden Ivey, they've never seen anybody like this before. And I think he's going to be the difference maker. I think we're probably going to, I hope that he's in assist mode. And if he has more than 5 assists, they win by 20.
20. He hit those 2 insane threes against Texas, or Purdue would even be here. Those 2 threes against Texas were insane.
I'm taking Purdue. I'm taking the points. I'm going to hate myself, but if I'm going down, I'm going down swinging.
Here we go.
Okay. They're, as you said, they're from, I believe, Jersey City, New Jersey.
Yep.
And if there's something that I hate more than Northeast of America, it is the Purdue Boilermakers. So I wore the Oral Roberts Sweet 16 shirt today
Because I refuse to let you
on
buy
purpose
a Peacock shirt.
because
yeah.
I'm not allowed to buy a Peacock shirt yet. And he says that they haven't seen anybody like Jaden Ivey. I don't know if you know who they've beaten in the tournament yet. But Kentucky has about a starting 5 of Jaden Ivies on their team, as well as they played St. John's and Providence. Didn't fare too well in those games, but they've seen them. Leading scorer averages 11 points. Brandon's favorite player, Dougie Eater, averages 7 points coming into the tournament. There's no shot. Hammer Purdue in the points.
Boom.
Unfortunately, until they run into a real team like UNC again or UCLA, which we think it's going to be UCLA, they will cakewalk their way into some sort of a joke of a Final Four for the first time in 20. How many years? 21 years?
No regrets.
30 years. No, not 20 years.
Yeah.
30 some odd years since they've been in the Final Four. I don't know if anybody listening remembers a player called Glenn Robinson. That was the last time that they made the Final Four.
Uh-huh.
Had a long NBA career with the Milwaukee Bucks, as well as I think he dabbled in a few other teams. I don't think that
he birthed a national runner-up. Give him some credit.
Banner up, baby.
Well, he didn't birth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You guys can hang another one of those banners in your rafters, shine a light on the ceiling, or whatever you guys do now. So, either way, I'm gonna go to the grave with it. I'm gonna take Purdue, but hashtag cock up. Let's go St. Peter's.
Cock up. Let's go. Let's jump to the South bracket, where there are no peacocks. But we have number 5 Houston versus number 1 Arizona. Guys, we talk on the show stinky lines. I was floored to see this was -1.5. This Vegas knows something that I don't. I thought Arizona should have probably been a 4 or 5 point favorite here. I'm gonna take Arizona, but this game has me absolutely floored. Arizona has the better players. Houston, similar to Baylor, is really beat up. But Houston plays a smack in the mouth, and that's not the way Arizona wants to play. It's a really tough style for Arizona to compete with. I have Arizona playing, but this game, for me, was the hardest game out of the Sweet 16 to choose. What about you guys?
Houston is really good and very underseeded. You saw what they did to Kofi last round. You saw what they did to a very good. I honestly, I took Illinois pretty far in a couple of the brackets. The one that I have that's still in contention for something has Houston going to the Final Four. So if that doesn't give away where I'm going with this, I do believe in jean shirt armpit stain Kelvin Sampson, and former IU leader who put us in hell for a few years, but did give us Eric Gordon for a little bit. I believe in him. I believe in the way that he teaches. I believe in the way that he's brought his NBA mentality to a bunch of athletes. That's all I'm going to say. That entire starting 5 is a bunch of athletes all the way through, can run up and down the court, can match anybody in the country as far as athleticism goes and as far as defense and buckets. And so I'm going with the Cougars
to win,
cover and to win. Yes.
Cover and win. That is a huge upset. Seth, what say you?
All right, this one is all over the place. So ESPN Matchup Predictor has Houston at 61% chance of winning.
Mm-hmm. But they have Arizona as a favorite still.
Exactly. Yep. Yes. That's what I'm saying. It's all over the map here. So I've watched Houston play their 2 games. Very impressive. Very impressive. I've watched Arizona's 2 games. I'd say not impressive at all. Just going by the eyeball test. Christian Coloco had a huge game. I think he was like 12 for 13. and really was the difference. And the thing that you said about TCU is TCU played tough defense. They were in their grill the whole game, and you could tell Arizona did not like it. That was not what they responded to. They were really chippy. It was not a polished Arizona team. And so you look at Benedict Mathurin, you look at Kerr, you look at Keir, they have players up and down the roster who might be able to drop 15 to 20 points on you any given night. But Houston has a defense that can hang with anybody.
Yeah.
I have Houston winning outright.
Wow. And, two upsets.
And I have Arizona in the championship game in my bracket. But I am not sold on them. I don't think that they're a cohesive unit. And I think this is the time of year where being a connected group of 5 basketball players rises above a collection of 5 really good athletes. And I have Houston outright.
There we go. Hey, guys, go get some plus money.
Oh, these are guaranteed to be wrong, by the way.
Oh, yeah, they'll be wrong.
I hope you warned your listeners appropriately.
Now let's jump to the other game in that bracket. Number 11, Michigan against number 2, Villanova. Villanova, number 5. Again, like Arkansas, I picked Michigan to lose against Colorado State. Then I picked Michigan to lose against Tennessee. I'm going to stay consistent, and I'm saying Colin Gillespie in his 27th season is going to finally advance back to the Elite Eight, back to the Final Four, potentially back to the championship. Give me Villanova because I watch so much Michigan. They stink. I don't like Juwan Howard. I don't like Hunter Dickinson. And you know what? Give me Nova all day because the Philadelphia Mafia and Jay Wright said so.
All right. Yeah. And here's the thing is they didn't deserve to be in the tournament. I'll say this straight out. Michigan got favorable treatment. They've done a great job winning their 3 games so far. Awesome. Good for them. The other player that you didn't mention who is extremely unlikable is Eli Brooks, who is just the herkiest, jerkiest, floppy-haired flopper this side of Brad Davison I have ever seen in my life. I put the over-under at flopped fouls drawn at 2.5, and I would pound the over. All right. Yeah. So I am going, and then Jay Wright is just one of the most likable coaches.
Handsome.
Sorry. Oh God, well dressed. Yeah, Dickie V.
Silver Fox, really definition of Silver.
Has he aged? He's been the Benjamin Button, right? Like he's gone. I think he was older at his first championship than he was on now. So
yeah,
sorry, Seth. You brought him up.
Just Dickie V giving him over the pants hand job about his outfits, every single week is just something you expect. But I'm going Villanova on here. I'm going Colin Gillespie. I think he's the difference maker. Again, we talk about connections and collections of talent being greater than sum of individual parts. I think Michigan stinks out loud. I hope they get blown out. And I think Villanova is the team to methodically wear them down, not let Dickinson get into a groove. And I think they win handily. So I have them covering.
Yep. We have one bracket in our household that is still hanging on and still has a national champion alive. And that is my wife's bracket. And this is her pick. The Villanova Wildcats. And I think that they win this one. I think it's closer. What is the spread on this one? We've got 5. I think it's a 6-7 point game. I don't know how Michigan does it. I think Dickinson does something. Who knows? That guy is like he's real awkward. I think he's like a 17-year-old trapped in a 7-foot, 22-year-old's body or however old he is. The way that he moves is not heavy.
He's like shoulder heavy.
It's real weird. I don't know. I feel like his face has zero emotion.
Disney villainy.
Watch him with his threes. If he hits a 3,
Garçon.
Yeah, basically his 3s are like whatever his whatever it is. Jermaine Samuels is going to have a massive game. That's my prediction on this. I think Gillespie is going to be his normal stuff. Who's older, by the way? Jordan Bohannon or Colin Gillespie, whatever.
They were actually born on the same day in 1972.
Probably, but one's a little bit less of a douchebag than the other one. So you guys can pick out which one I think is more. So I think he's obviously, again, we're going to go back to the season thing. Exactly what Seth said last time. Starting 5, that's going to make a bigger difference. Michigan has nobody. They've got the kid, what is it?
Houston or Diabate,
who's very hit or miss. Diabate is like, watch him. He is a space eater, and he is terrible. I don't know what he does. He destroys Michigan's offense, whatever it is. Anyway, Jones is a pretty good point guard. Dickinson, as awkward as he is really good at basketball. But they don't have a shot, I don't think. I think Nova wins, but I think it's decently close, just because of, I don't know. That's just how I feel. I guess 6 points.
No, I hear you. We all picked Villanova, which definitely means Michigan wins. I just hope you guys know that is the way these things work.
God, I hope not. That would just be another easy victory for Purdue on their way to some weird championship.
Yeah. Who knows? All right, so let's jump to the last bracket here, the Midwest bracket. And guys, this first game was my heartstrings game. I know I'm going to bet on the Providence Friars, who are getting 7.5 points against Kansas. Why? Because I love Al Durham. I love Nate Watson. They have a gritty guard in Bynum that just plays so tough. Kansas is better at every position. Kansas, as much as I hate Bill Self, he's probably a little bit better than Ed Cooley. Like, Kansas is better in every position and they've been here. But why not? Give me Providence, not only just a cover, but here's my number one upset. I have Providence shocking the world. Kansas did not look great against Creighton, and Creighton didn't overall play very well. If Kansas had played North Carolina, if Kansas had played TCU, if Kansas had played Memphis, they all of those 8 or 9 seeds may have beat Kansas in that second round. That's why I think the Friars get to the Elite 8 and upset Kansas. How dumb am I?
You're pretty dumb. But I agree with you. So how dumb am I?
A lot of dumb in this room.
The reason being is because I don't think this is your traditional Kansas team. I don't think that there's this one stud NBA player with your big guy in the middle and a couple veterans sprinkled around him. It's not the same setup that you have that's going to get you to a Final Four. Providence is, again, here we're going to go back to it again, experienced all the way through. Bynum has been through a bunch of stuff. They've got a really good stretch 4 in, how do you say his last name? Horschler? Is that how you say it?
Hirschler.
I watched them play against Butler. I believe Butler ended up pulling up the upset, but Butler was up 19 at one point. And then all of a sudden, Providence decided that they were going to play a basketball game in one of their 5 losses and came all the way back in a matter of 2 minutes, I think. I like the way Providence plays. I think they match up really well against Kansas. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I had them losing to San Diego State. And then even if they were to beat San Diego State, I had them losing to Iowa. But I do think that the way that they are built, I think the way that Bill Self should be in jail means that we
love giving out cars.
Yeah.
You get a card. You get a card. You get a card.
I do think that they will cover. I don't think that they're going to win. I think Kansas wins. But I do think Providence.
I'm hammering. I'm going to have a sizable bet on Providence plus 7.5, and I'm going to have a little sprinkle on the money line. Providence.
Ooh.
Seth, what about you?
All right. So here's my deal: is I really think that Providence is in a situation where they can win. Kansas, the only player on Kansas who can get his own shot is Ubaji. I don't think they have enough offensive firepower to make it all the way, but I think they have just enough to beat Providence. And I have Kansas winning a very close game and not covering the 7.5. I really think that they're going to run into some problem eventually, but I just don't think Providence is the team to take them down.
7.5 is too many. Like I said, I mean, I feel 7.5 is just too. Providence only plays close games, and do I love Al Durham. All right, let's get to our last game, which, guys, I had Iowa State losing to LSU. I had Miami losing to USC. I don't think either one of these teams are really good, but guards steal the show in March. And Wong and McGusty, literally, they can't miss. Like, I still don't think they've missed. They've been absolutely insane. Isaiah Brockington is the Isaiah Brockington he was in November and December when Iowa State was, top 15 in the country. They're just two really hot teams right now, which is why I think this will be a miserable game, and I have no idea. I'm going to take the guard show of Wong and McGusty, but neither one of these teams are good. And I think I would have picked every other team that we've covered to beat both of these teams if that was an option. I think maybe not St. Peter's, but we're looking at, in my mind, the 14th and 15th best teams in the tournament here playing against each other. Give me number 10 Miami to cover the -2.5, but this game is just yuck all over it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think the difference here is Miami's best guard on last year's team is now a backup on Arkansas. I believe Chris Likes. So I'm tempted to go with Iowa State here because, again, just like the idea where you kind of like the Cinderella, you want to see that going. They were 2-22 last year. They've already won 20 more games this year. That's a great story. Rah, rah, yay. Miami probably has the better athletes again, but I think Isaiah Brockington, averaging 17 points a game, he's been really impressive. And again, I'm going mostly off of a looks test here. And when both teams look like shit, one of them has a little peanut in it, and I'm going with that. So give me Iowa State to win outright.
Planters, I'm pretty sure will never sponsor this show now. Thank you for the peanut reference. Bragg, take us home, man.
Okay, you guys didn't mention the best player that's going to be on the court.
Wardenberg?
No. Oh. Tyrese Hunter, the freshman on Iowa State, number 11.
Yep.
I have not watched any Iowa State basketball coming into the tournament. I have watched every game that they've played so far, and I have been beyond impressed. This looks like one of the most athletic teams in the tournament, the most NBA style team that I've seen play in the tournament outside of the top teams in the bracket.
Gabe Kalscheur looks like a completely different player than he was at Minnesota.
I'm convinced there's another Gabe Kalscheur that looks identical to him. That's not the Gabe Kalscheur that played at Minnesota.
No,
right?
Not at all.
So
streaky guy, and now he's all of a sudden always good.
Watch Tyrese Hunter, and if he can continue the momentum he's had from the first two rounds, we have had a double-digit seed in the Final Four for how many straight? I know last year for sure. I think it's been a couple straight years. We'll have another one. Iowa State will win out of this bracket, and I take Iowa State by 7+ in this game.
Wow.
I would take Iowa State over Kansas as well. If it's Iowa State, Kansas, I would take Iowa State.
And I don't know what's happening. They scored 36 points 4 games ago or 5 games ago. I'm not in a half. In the entire game, they scored 36 points against a really bad Oklahoma State team. Iowa State looks like a totally different team in the tournament. Hammer it. Tyrese Hunter is a player, and he might make an NBA run just out of the tournament.
Oh, Isaiah Brockington's getting drafted. For sure.
Isaiah Brockington looks great. I'm telling you, watch Tyrese Hunter. This kid is impressive. And how he got out of Wisconsin without going to Wisconsin, I have no idea.
Thank goodness.
Right? All right, guys. Thank you, both of you guys, for taking time late on a Wednesday to talk basketball. These guys do an awesome job reviewing terrible movies. Go check out their podcasts. Their Varsity Blues ones might be one of the funniest podcasts I've ever listened to. That was a really, really good one. Newman and I will be back Saturday morning to discuss the Elite Eight, where I will brag that I got every single one of these games right. Until next time.
Iowa State wins, I'm coming back. That's all I'm going to say.
You and I are definitely coming back when St. Peter's gets an upset.
If that happens too, yeah.
All right. Until next time, boys, take it easy, and I'll see everyone Saturday. Bye.
See ya.
Peace.